Good morning, everyone. Today is another episode of Arks Trash. For those who don't know what Arks Trash is, it is a podcast which is audio only. However, I have prepared a bunch of B-roll in case you are a visual listener, so you can watch the B-roll and listen to the podcast. And today's special guest is Krono Catastrophe, and we talk about a whole bunch of things coming out in the February update, including the NGS headline, the new weapon series, the new armors, new augments, a whole bunch of things, so I'm sure you'll find something interesting in today's podcast. But as usual, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, please enjoy the video. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Arks Trash. Today I have guest Krono Catastrophe here with me today. Krono, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, I'm Krono. I stream and make YouTube content for PSO2 primarily. Pretty much find me at Krono Catastrophe anywhere. So
perfect. So we're just going to jump straight into the deep end today, and I just want to get your take on the NGS headline. What do you think of it?
It actually had a lot of really interesting information, some things that kind of slipped under the radar that we didn't all catch immediately, that I actually plan on releasing a video about a few things in a couple of days. But overall, the headline, I'm actually pretty excited for it. So a lot of really cool stuff, and it also reminds me that Phantasy Star likes to follow patterns, and they still continue with these patterns to this day.
Could you elaborate on these patterns? What do you mean by that?
So let's take, for example, the concerts. I know one big thing that we all were like really surprised about, where we have Central City with this huge amphitheater, but like there was no concert, right? Like, where are the concerts, where are the shows, where's everything that's going on? Well, fast forward over to Redum, now we've got a concert coming up with the most recent headline that's announced. And when I say they like to stick to patterns, they did this very same thing with base PSO2 or PSO2 Oracle, if you will, where the only time that they actually released concerts and things of that sort were after they established the fact that concerts happen in the story. So they build like this world around things, and then they go with it when it makes sense for the storyline itself. I honestly foresee them releasing a lot more concerts and shows and things of that sort now that it's actually established in the lore of the game that we have a concert that's going out, and it's going out to Redum, or that's going out to Central City and all.
So do you think that every new region that we get, we're going to get a different idol or like waifu, or do you think it's just going to be Nadara? Nadara is going to be the one singing all the time.
I feel like Nadara is going to kind of be it. Like, she's going to be the one singing most of the time, and then there's going to be like different maybe like seasonal events or just events in general around Nadara and around like the whole like concert idea. We might see like other things pop in there, like you remember when we had the Persona concert and stuff like that, right? Like stuff like that might show up here and there, but I realistically think it's going to be mostly centered around Nadara, kind of like a lot of our concert was centered around Quina.
What about the actual concert itself? Do you think we're gonna get mini games, just like how when we played a Koi Koi, you know how we had to play like a rhythm game and all of that?
Koi Koi would, that would be interesting, honestly, if we got mini games. I don't know per se. I'm not sure how that would work out, right? Because like if you're in Redum, like there's the whole stands and everything like that. I feel like with that would make sense. To have like a little mini game, but with the concert being projected over to Central City over the big monitor and everything like that, I feel like there it would be kind of left out. So they might not do that immediately, but I'll be real with you, with the way that the dev team has been acting when it comes to feedback from the players, I feel like if they didn't do it and we were like, hey, we really would like to see this again, it would be something that would show up again. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
Yeah, for sure. My personal take is I think we will be able to do it in Redum. If you like stand on the bleachers, you can probably like interact and then you'll join the mini game. Yeah. And then when the camera's panning around in live streaming the whole thing to Central City, people will actually see your avatar. I'm hoping that happens so that people can see how ridiculous other players look like and be like, yo, that would be so cool. Want to look like that, you know? It gives them something to look forward to. That's what I'm thinking.
I never even considered that. That'd be super cool, right? Like being able to see other players on the because I mean they already kind of do that, right? With the screenshots they show from Twitter and stuff like that. Like they've already shown other players obviously on those monitors beforehand. So it'd be super cool if they like actually panned across the screen and showed everyone.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I just don't know how they're gonna do it, because you know in Alio we have different blocks compared to Retem. So if they were to live stream it, maybe it would only be like one block. Maybe like block 1 of Retem, like whoever's in that specific live stream or in that block, that's the only one that gets broadcasted to all of the Alio live streams. Because I don't think they could do it like, you know, make it different for every single block. I think that would be...
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of work.
Yeah.
But
that, I feel like that would be a lot of work and a lot of resources. I honestly, I wouldn't want them to put that many resources in something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like one block is enough to like to, and the funny thing is it'll also create like a level of like a social aspect to it as well, because part of it would be like you want to get into that block where everyone else is, right? That way you're the one that shows up on the actual, like on the big screen for other people to see and stuff. So like I feel like that'd be super cool for them to do.
So what about gear wise? How's your gear looking right now? Are you maxed out already?
So gear wise at the moment I'm rocking unfortunately I need 2 relics, funny enough. I'm using a jet boot relic multi-weapon with the soaring blade relic, because essentially the best way to get the stronger potential for soaring blades while also being able to optimally play soaring blades and have options for extra damage while a target's down. So it's just, as much as it like really annoys me that I have to use jet boots along with soaring blades to make soaring blades really, really good, it's funny because if you go into like Bouncer's overall tree, the leftover points you have from maxing out everything to do with soaring blades, you can actually put those points, you have just enough points to put into jet boots to make them usable as a multi-weapon for extra down damage. So it annoys me, but it works out being almost perfect, so I can't be that mad about it. But as far as units go, I'm still rocking my 2 Giant units from Ilio, just re-augmented them. They're pretty much max augment for the most part. Max augment for damage, basically. And then I grabbed I believe it was the Vios, which that one, it just keeps me from being triple Giant. That way I don't get instantaneously statused. And it's just a really solid unit overall. So
fair enough. So what do you think about the new weapon coming at the Cinquem series or Cinquium series?
And I saw that weapon and I immediately thought to myself, I'm gonna have to make a video talking about this because people are gonna lose their mind comparing this to the relic. And then I waited about 4 hours and then it happened. Because people immediately were just like, relics are going to be useless now and all of these other crazy things. And while the weapon looks really cool, let's start there, because in my opinion, look does matter when it comes to weapons. The weapons look super cool. They are not going to be, like, we looked at this on stream as well, they're not going to be nearly as insanely powerful as a lot of people. Unless they choose to do some very, very odd things, like I mentioned beforehand. PSO2 works in patterns. They very rarely break these sorts of patterns themselves. Like you saw like the potential that these weapons have, right? So we saw the level 1 version of the potential and its potency is 18%. In my mind, that pretty much guarantees that it's going to be 24% at level 4. So it's not going to hit the 27% of the current relic weapons. And even then, like in the best case scenario, when you compare the two, if you're looking at like the tech relic weapons compared to the new weapons themselves, they're about equal overall. Where the tech relic weapons actually have a slight edge because you have more PP that you're regenning back for active attacks or like PP regen during attacks, versus getting less PP cost consumption, because I think it's 15% maximum. But the really crazy thing is we don't know how the potential works yet, because it's based off of the number of augments you have, but it says different augments.
Yeah, I'm confused about that as well. Like, what's your take on it? Do you think it's going to be different, or do you think it's just augments in general?
I think it's just number of augments in general, and it's just poor writing for it. I think if they make it number of different augments, it's going to be way too complicated for people to use properly.
Yeah, people would be going like some really wacky builds to get that 15%.
Yeah, you'd be asking, because like it's one of those potentials that's split into 2 ways, right? Because you have the one side of its potency and the other half of it is like the utility portion of it, and it's like 1% for every, it says 1% for every different augment that's in your between your weapons and units up to 15%. And if it's different types of augments for each one of them, like you have the question, is it worth augmenting all different types of augments to get that max 15%? Where's the cutoff? Like, which augments can I use versus other augments? And it just gets to being this insanely crazy thing that I feel like the dev team is just not going to do it. Like, it's one of those situations where like we could figure it out, but it just seems like a bad idea.
So are you going to be making the Sanquium weapons, or are you passing on this?
So and this is honestly what I would recommend to everyone. I'm going to make one, even if not to use, to sell, because all these weapons are going to be available on the market. And there will be people that cannot afford, or they'll not have the time to gather everything that they need. We're definitely going to be doing these urgent quests, and we're going to be in these level 3 zones. There's no reason not to make the money off of it. That's like one thing that I really want to push forward, and I'm probably going to start recovering as well, is even if you don't spend money on something personally, it doesn't mean it doesn't have value. People have this mindset that if I didn't have to spend any Maseta on something, that means that I got it for free, when that's not really the case. If you have an item that you got a hold of and you put all these things into upgrading it, even though you didn't spend any money on it, if those items have a value, you spent that cost of the value of the item. So if we're just going to be doing these urgent quests anyway, right? Why not make the money off of it as well and sell the item?
Okay, so now I gotta ask you, for the weapon itself, are you gonna upgrade it before selling, or are you just gonna sell it clean?
I'm going to upgrade it before selling, 100%. I'm probably not going to put augments on it, but I'm going to upgrade it before selling, because I have a relic. Now, unless like we go into it, we calculate out that these weapons are going to definitely be better than our relics, right? Like, unless there's some situation where we find out that these weapons just far outscale, maybe Sega messes something up, maybe they decide that they want the potency to go up to 27%, like out of nowhere for some strange reason. Mind you, if they do, then these were definitely stronger than the relics. Because I'm not sure if you saw the base power difference or whatever.
Yeah, it's like 9
it was like,
attack at plus 40.
Yeah, it's like
pretty big.
Yeah, it's an extra 9 attack, which is pretty substantial. That's why I'm like, there's no way it's going to go past 24%. But if they happen to decide that they wanted to go past 24%, then yeah, that's it. Those are better. there's no contest involved.
Something to take note of is, have you looked at the fighter weapons or the fighter relic weapons or not?
Yeah.
Okay, because
the fighters and
the explosive unit. So that is the katana, and then the fighter, all the fighter weapons. So the issue with that is its potency is only plus 21% at level 4. But you get the explosion every 10 seconds, which is essentially the same damage as a photon art. So do you think if you're a katana user or a fighter user, do you think that you should switch over to the Sanquium weapons, since you get higher base attack and your potency is going to be higher?
So if you are I guess the easy answer is yes. Unless you are going to take your relic weapon and multi it with, like, say for example, a tech relic or something like that, to be able to take the potential from the tech relic, you're going to be better off with the Sanquium weapons. And for people who aren't aware of how those relics will work out and why I multi my weapon the way that I did, the relic weapons have different potentials, of course, across the different types and all that stuff. But if you multi-weapon a weapon together, whatever the base relic's potential is what the potential it uses across the entire board. So my soaring blades, even though the potential for soaring blades is only 27% potency plus like some other, I think it's like damage resistance and rest assign bonus for 10%. Since that potency or that potential really isn't that great, multiing it with a tech weapon, the tech potential is what's actually being used, the base. Unless you plan on taking those fighter weapons and multiing them with a tech weapon or something like that, you're going to be better off with the cycle. They're going to outscale them.
Okay, fair. Yep, just to reiterate what Krono just said, remember, if you do multi-weapon, the relic weapons, the base weapon is the one where you get all its potential, right? So you have to make sure that the base weapon is the one with the PP regeneration or the tech weapon or whatever, and the sub weapon is actually your soaring blades or your katana or your fighter weapon. So that's just to reiterate, to let chat know so that they don't mess up and accidentally screw up their weapon.
Yeah, and it sucks to say, but like the irony, but the like best case scenario for, like, say if you were a if you were a braver, unfortunately, is like in no situation do you really want your katana to be your base weapon. Realistically, you either want to multi it with like say a rod if you're playing force, if you're playing braver force, or maybe consider multiing it with a talus and have the talus be the base. That way you can just toss up your the talus weapon action every once in a while, just for some extra damage and extra PP regen or something like that. And have that be the base of the weapon, even though you still augment fully, into tech. Or, I'm sorry, even so you augment fully into striking, it's still the better potential overall. Which I don't know. I feel like it kind of sucks, but it is nice that you have an option to make that weapon a lot better.
Yep, for sure. I'm still in the camp of thinking if you manage to get a relic bow, that you multi-weapon the bow, the katana, so that you get like that insane crit chance. I'm still on that boat because I think crit chance is crazy.
You definitely can. That's the thing, is that potential is still really good. It scales fairly well, and I've always said that bow kind of covers almost all of katana's weaknesses. And you can do some pretty fun combinations with them. So if you're someone who doesn't mind using bow as well as katana, yeah, absolutely. Get a bow and then multi it with your katana, and you're good to go. The only downside is like if you want to actively use both sides of your weapon, you kind of have to like multi-aug and things like that. That tends to be slightly weaker than going all in on one augment.
Indeed. Actually, speaking about augments, we now know that we can enhance our armors to plus 50, which gives us an additional augment slot. What do you think we should use that slot for? Or how about we take a step back? What augments do you think people should be using in general?
So the basis of the augments you use are going to depend on how much money you have available to you, first off, and how defensive realistically you want to be. So if we're going all in on attack, like my augments currently are, you want a soul 3, of course. I use Dustal Soul. But there are other options as well. You can always go with something a bit cheaper. I think Form Soul is really, really cheap. Didal Soul is cheap, things like that. Your second is going to be something that you probably don't have access to anymore. The Addy skills. Those were AC skills or AC items that were the capsules. And I can tell you right now, the one that I use currently on all my gear, Addy Defnal, is like 14 mil a piece now. So it's really expensive. And it's strong, don't get me wrong, it's very strong, but it's insanely expensive now. I actually bought a decent stock surplus of them when they were cheaper. They were around 3 to 4 mil when I bought a few of them, so I have them set aside if I want to augment some other things, or if I decide, what, I'm gonna cut my loss and sell them, I'll make a good chunk of them. Which, for future reference, if those scratches ever come back, I highly recommend everyone do the same thing. Like, absolutely do that. If you're someone who wants to augment and be strong, have those set aside. So the Addy skills, also very good. And then of course we have Gigas. If you're Giga stat, definitely also very useful. This is all thinking that you're augmenting in with one stat in mind. And then the last one that's pretty strong is I believe it's Alt Secreta.
Yep, Alt Secreta 3. Yep, that's really good.
Alt Secreta 3 would be the last thing that would have in there. So like my quad setup, of course, is Soul, Gigas, Secreta, and then Addy. Now, if you happen to not have Addy available to you, can always go with like the base might, tech or range aug instead in that slot. And then this is where you have the question, do I want to be more tanky, or do I want to push out more damage? You can swap out Secreta for Dreadkeeper. Dreadkeeper 3 is insanely strong for a multitude of reasons. You've got damage reduction, you have extra HP, you have extra PP, and then you still also have potency floor adjustment, which is still good. It's not like as strong as just flat potency, because it just brings up your potency floor, of course, but it's still good.
Now we're gonna have 5 augment slots, right? So we just talked about the base 4 augments. So Addy, we had a Gigas stat, we had a Soul, and we had a Alt Secreta. And if you want, you could also put in the what is this called? Dreadkeeper, right?
Yep.
So now, if we have 5 slots, what should the average player go for? What would they use for the 5th slot? What would you recommend?
So this is again one of those situations where I would say the first thing you should keep in consideration is your money. People have different levels of the amount of money that they make, and of course, some of us tend to play Type 2 characters whose fashion is very expensive. So that's a big portion of it. For me, that 5th slot's going to be Dreadkeeper. It's a pretty easy choice for me, just because I'm gone all in on offense, and the only thing that's going to increase my damage anymore is picking up something like what is it, the double or the dual stat.
Oh yeah, the
soul, or dual stat stuff.
Yeah, the one that gives you like melee and range or melee and tech.
Like melee range, melee tech. Yeah, those at level 3 are 1.75%, which aren't bad. Don't get me wrong, but I would much rather have 30 HP and 7 PP and 2% damage reduction and 2% floor potency increase over just a 1.7% towards my main stat. So for me, it's going to definitely be Dreadkeeper. For the average player, I would say drop Addy, of course. Pick up regular stat would be what I'd go with. And I would probably consider Dreadkeeper's kind of expensive, unless you pick them up right, like, around now when we had Boost Day going on or PSO2 Day going on. People were farming a lot of that stuff. I would say probably go with one of those multi-sets. Go with like the Meltech or something along those. Just because it is still damage and it's relatively inexpensive.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you think about with the Zone 3 or the Rank 3 high rank zones coming out in Alio? Do you think we're gonna be getting the new notes? So you know how we have Magnus note and we have the Vanford Lab note and all of that, which also gives melee, range, and tech damage. So do you think we're gonna get a Rank 2 version of those augments?
I never considered it, but they definitely could do, like, I know they have an A, B, C, and D. They could do like E, F, G, and 8. And then have a combination for them as well. That definitely is a thing that could happen with the level 3 zones. I think that they mentioned that the augments that we have access to are going to drop more frequently there. And they're usually pretty good about telling us if we're going to be getting new augments. Especially with like the new urgent quest that's coming up, they show that we're getting another augment, right? We're getting soul.
Yeah.
I don't think that they'll release newer notes without telling us they're going to be newer. But I think that it definitely could be an option.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the way they're gonna do it is they won't do like A2. They'll literally just do E, F, H like that. When it comes to those notes. I think that's the way that's going to happen, and that's just what's going to happen overall. And maybe someone can clip it out or make a post and call me out on it later. But I feel like what's going to end up happening eventually is going to be the whole alphabet, and then you're going to combine them all for one like Super Soul, way down the line.
Okay. I have a different take from you. I think we are actually going to get Magnus Note, Lab Note, and Rizola Note 2s. Because we're getting the rank 3 zones, right? Or, well, I guess in Rezelforce it's rank 2. But the reason why I say this is because for the notes, A, B, C, D, I think each region has its thing already. Like the Domina series, right? You have Ale Domina, you have Ret Domina. And I don't think they're going to make it even more complicated by adding like an Ale Domina 2 or Ret Domina 2 or whatever. I think it's every region has their Dominas. And when we get all 4 regions, we can combine them all together, and it's going to be the equivalent of Guardian Soul of what we had in base. And that's my take on it, which is why I don't think they're going to add E, F, G, H. Because if they add that, then that would mean, you'd have Ale Domina, which takes A, B, C, D, Ale Domina 2, which takes E, F, G, H. And then it would be so complicated for each region if you had to collect 8 different notes just to create the 2 capsules for each region, and that would make 8 different capsules. Can you even combine 8 capsules? I don't think you can, right?
I mean, at the moment, no, but like, think of it this way. It could be that you would combine the 2 combinations of those 8 capsules, right? So like the 4 capsules you combine together plus the other 4 capsules that combine together, those 2 capsules combine together into capsules as well. Because if we're gonna think from old augmentation, right, from base PSO2, there wasn't just Guardian Soul, right? We had Ether Factor, we had Astral Soul. Like, all of these things were combinations of other stuff.
True.
And the way they made them were like by building them up over time. So I don't know if it would go as far as to say, I feel like we might have scared some people when you said Guardian Soul, but I don't know if it'll go that far. I could see us getting something like an Ether Factor variant, like where it puts all of those like items together. But I mean, I feel like what you like your take on it might make more sense. Like
Mhm.
maybe go with a 2 instead. I'm like, to be honest, I'm just kind of looking at. I don't think they're gonna release anything at all. I think
Oh,
that
okay.
they're gonna drop more of them,
Mhm.
and they're gonna be more available for people. Hot take, I think they're gonna make it so you because they've already made it so you can get more mastery ones
Mhm.
from the yellow keys.
Yep.
Maybe they'll have masteries dropping as well, which would be kind of crazy. Because I know the insane people probably have noticed. Sir, you never mentioned Mastery 3. I know I didn't mention Mastery 3 because even if you have tons of money, I still wouldn't augment Mastery 3. You're crazy. It's extremely expensive and it's really hard to put together. But I could definitely foresee them adding in, more mastery augment.
Mhm. Gotcha. All right. So the TLDR, at least my take on augments, right, is going to be
Mhm.
if you can afford it, if you have it, you put an Addy capsule, you put a Giga Stat 3, a Soul 3, Alt Secreta 3, and Veterans Resolve. It's either that. I think that is probably one of the strongest ones. If you don't want Veterans Resolve and you want to be even more DPS oriented, maybe just put like a Stat 3 for the 2% potency. You could put the Domina series, or you can put the Note series, like whatever new Note that comes out. I think that is probably your best bet. But if you don't have the Addy series, then you just take away the Addy series, replace it with a Stat 3, and I think you'll be good. That's my
Yeah,
take. Yeah.
yeah. I undervalue some of the, and I mean it's a mistake. I think, in my opinion, I undervalue some of the other options like the notes and the dominas and things like that. Just because
Hmm.
I've been so accustomed to like I set up my augments already, and I kind of like I'm coasting with what I have.
Yeah.
And there's so there's so few slots that are available right now. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is like Addy's going to be very much something that a lot of people aren't going to have.
Yeah.
Just swap it for standard. Like I think the easiest thing to do is Soul, Stat, Giga Stat, and like maybe a Secreta or
Yeah.
something like that.
Hmm.
Like that's going to be like the those are going to be fairly powerful and fairly inexpensive overall. Depending upon your soul, of course, and Secreta tends to fluctuate a little bit.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the rest is just kind of fit in what you got.
Exactly. So now we've talked about augments. I want to talk about the armors. So we are getting new armors as well, right? So what do you think the stats are going to be? It says, it's giving potency, it's giving HP, it's giving PP. But what's your predictions on the actual numbers?
So I didn't see that we were getting new armors. That was actually one of the things that I was kind of thrown off about is I didn't see anything about armor at all.
Oh, it was
Maybe I missed it. I think I
no,
might
no,
have
no.
missed it
So
then.
it wasn't on the headline stream. A lot of these things weren't said on the headline stream, but they were posted
Okay.
on the official website afterwards during the February
Mm,
recap. So you go to the new urgent quest and you scroll to the bottom, and it actually says that we're getting 3 new armors as well.
that actually just changed things up for me quite a bit. So if I were to guess what our new armor was going to be, I'll be honest, I have no idea because we've already kind of covered everything that's going to be like that we have access,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we have upgraded Giants, and all the current armors that we have, like actually I'm looking through them right now. All the current armors that we have, they already have an upgraded variant to them. So I think they're going to go like a full different set, like a full different type. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
really interesting to see if they brought back like a set bonus armor.
Oh, that would be nice. If we got a set bonus armor, it's like, yeah, you get all 3 pieces, and if you put them all on, you get like extra PP regeneration or HP regeneration or like, something, right? Something unique. That would be really cool.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of over Giant and Grius. I'm tired of having minus like these minus resistances are just so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
In a metagame where we don't have the ability to get rid of statuses, and if you get the you get the wrong status, you get to not have any fun.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's also like the strongest options we have. Like at a certain point, I almost gave up and just went triple VS. Like I was right on the cusp of doing it because of how annoying Giant and Grius are, but wanting to push out more damage, kind of that's where I was at. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's like my copium hope is, or my hopium is that they push out something set bonus wise again. Like that'd be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like probably I don't know, maybe like a defense, just an overall defensive unit, but we have one. Like we have like everything. I don't know what they would do.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that this is gonna be basically the Grias armor, but without the downsides. It's just gonna be like, 30 HP and like 10 PP with, all 2% all potency or something crazy like that. I think it would be nuts if we can get something that might be a little bit broken though. I think that would be like, oh, that's best in slot. Everyone just dogpiled that armor.
See, that's the thing is that's okay though. I'm maybe I'm crazy for someone who likes playing MMOs and all the time. Like that's my thing. I think I feel like the new piece of content, it's totally fine for it to have the best gear. If it's the strongest units in the game, by all means go for it. Like that was probably the most underwhelming thing about going into Redum was like I didn't care about the units. Like I didn't really care about them at all. Like they weren't stronger than Giant. Like the argument to be made between Giant and Grias was that you got 3 more PP, but you lost 20 HP and you gained 4 defense. Like that felt kind of boring, at least to me. So like a new unit that's like, what if it was 4% all attack?
Oh shit! Can you imagine 4% all potency? It's just like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my units already. I'm like I'm not sure if you look at like your potency percentage for your rating stat. Yeah, mine's 52.9.
Holy crap!
So like if they added something to that, it would be a lot of fun. Like it's crazy because I think, what is it, my battle power is like 1861. I could push it to 1881, but I would lose main stat, and I don't want to because Dreadkeeper is just worth more technically when it comes to battle power. But like, I don't care. I want the damage.
Fair enough. What do you think about the new combat zones at that new mob? The what's its name? Megalotix?
Megalotics.
Yeah,
Megalotics.
Yeah. So, what do you think about that mob?
It looks interesting. I mean, I don't know. It basically is just here's another big, crazy enemy that's a different color palette again. I don't know what they're gonna do with these NGS mobs because they're all just like dolls or I don't know. It's weird because they the way they tend to do these enemies is they kind of pick a color palette and they stick to that color palette for them. I would like for them to like have some of these more savage looks, like different what is it, like more realistically towards like the way the enemy itself looks, but like a different variant as opposed to like just a different like overall color. Like it just feels like looking at Metal Sonic versus Sonic in my opinion, or looking at Chaos or something like that. Like it just doesn't, they don't seem that interesting like visually. Now from a combat standpoint, they're gonna blow us up and that's cool. That for me, that's gonna be super fun. I like fighting difficult enemies and things of that sort, being pushed as much as possible, so I think that's gonna be a lot of fun to play. So these level 3 zones I feel like are going to be an absolute blast to be in.
So did you also notice that those Megalotix or Lotix, they drop different loot?
Yeah.
So we're getting the arms enhancers, but that's just for our enhancing to get to plus 50. But on top of that, they also drop different capsules. Did you notice that?
Yep, the capsules. Well, I noticed that when I was looking to see, because they mentioned that they were going to drop more money, and I say more in quotations because it was like 100 Meseta. it was very little. Like it didn't seem like much more at all.
I paused the screen there as well when they said lots of money, and I skimmed over, then I rewinded. I was like, okay, let's see how much money that actually was. And then when I saw it was like 110, I was just like, oh, I guess sure, that's a lot of money, I guess.
Lots of money. I mean, maybe it's like all of the mobs in that zone drop a bunch of money like that or whatever, or maybe they just didn't want us to see how much money they were going to be getting to like account for the inflation or anything along those lines. But yeah, it wasn't very much. But yeah, no, the capsules, it shut off the caps like that, and I feel like it's going to be pretty interesting overall. It just seems like that's going to be the place to farm. What I would like to see from those zones though is the need to actually have the gear that we're after, right? One thing that a lot of people tend to say in a lot of situations is you don't need really any gear to do anything in NGS, which it's not an incorrect statement. As long as you're passing the battle power requirement, you don't need anything else. So it would be fun to see like situations where you realistically want to have better weapons, better armor, things like that, outside of just the purple triggers where you're getting one slap by Gigantics over and over again.
So let's start talking about future content. So in March, we're getting a new seasonal event again. But during the seasonal event, something that is different is we are getting a seasonal urgent quest specifically designed around the season. So what do you think it is? Do you have any idea? Predictions?
I'm hoping it's their first like urgent that actually has us like, how can I put this? Like, do you remember the urgent quest that we had for Christmas on global launch of base PSO2, where it was like a bunch of enemies like in kind of like a huge circle and bosses and everything like that?
And you were racing against the time and you had to try to kill as many as you could?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm hoping it's similar to that, where it's a mix of fighting enemies and bosses and things like that, and like killing a bunch of enemies and stuff like that. Because I mean, I know it's an open world game and things of that sort, so yeah, it's gonna be kind of be an open world, but like there's something to be said about combat encounters that are designed for the area that they're in, and you appreciate them a little bit more sometimes, where like you have like a narrow corridor where they shove like a giant mammoth looking enemy that runs down the corridor at you. Like little things like that sometimes, for me at least, are super fun. So I think the first one that we're going to be getting, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, is something similar to that old urgent quest that we had beforehand, where it's like a bunch of enemies that we have to kill and the bosses as well.
Do you think it's going to be in the Retem region or in the Alio region?
Oh, that's a tough call. I think it's going to have a version of... Actually, no, I think it's going to be in Retem. I think they're going to put it in Retem. I don't think they're going to put it in Alio. I think Alio will have the next one afterwards, but I think this one's going... Or no, I'm sorry. Flip that. I think it's going to be in Alio, not in...
Okay.
I think Alio's going to get this one because it has the focus at the moment with the level 3 zones. And I think that they're going to use Retem for the following upgrade, because around that time frame, that's probably when they're going to push Retem zones up as well later on down the line.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about what they're going to be doing with that pyramid. So you've seen the video, right? That Gemma and I think I don't know if Mark made a video about it, but there's like an underground passage under the pyramid in Retem. Did you see that video?
I have not watched the video, but I have heard about the underground passage like that, so I am curious.
Yeah, so underground there is literally like a door with a huge like arc symbol on it. So you can't get past the door because you're literally like no clipping through the ground to get to that door. But it looks like it's an entrance to something high tech. And so what I'm thinking is this gonna be like our repeatable content finally? Is it gonna be like a divide quest type of thing or endless type of thing? Because that's what we need, right? We really need some sort of challenging endless type of content where we can keep playing it with like a good, gameplay loop where we progress throughout something, right? So I'm really hoping that it's something along those lines, but I want to get another perspective. What do you think it might be?
So like, I'm hoping that's what it is. I don't know if that's what they're going towards, but like, we've talked about this before, right? We have the pyramid, we had Aincrad back in Ilio, and now we have this giant pyramid, right?
Yeah.
Like, what else is around this place that they just have these things that are just there that we haven't really interacted with, but we know have to play a big role in, right? Like, it's again one of those situations where the dev team follows their old pattern. They're building up this world, and we see this extremely obvious thing that's in front of us, but we haven't talked about it. We don't know anything about it. We don't know what's going on. Same thing happened back in like episode 1 through 3 of PSO2. I'm not gonna I know some people are still going back and playing those episodes, so I won't spoil exactly what happened through all across that. But in those episodes, we had a lot of, we built the world around what was going on, but there were these glaring, obvious things in front of us that we just never interacted with until much later when we found out they were like, they're doing it again. Like, I think we actually talked about this when Redem came out, but did you look up at like that giant floating thing in the sky and notice it was like way closer than it was before?
Yep.
All of a sudden?
Yep.
So like, why is I call it Aincrad because we don't have another name for it, but like, why is Aincrad like floating so much closer all of a sudden? Why is this pyramid, like, maybe we go into the next region, all of a sudden the pyramid is moved up a little bit for some reason? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
So I really want it to be our endless or our divide quest, because those were like the best quest types we had back in base PSO2. That's
Mm-hmm.
where the most fun was for a lot of players. I know for me personally,
Yeah.
even to this day, people are still doing endless back in base PSO2.
Mm-hmm.
I have gear that's worth billions right now on base PSO2 because it's used for endless.
Actually, speaking about the Ironclad thing, personally, I think it's gonna transform into Dark Falls. That's why it's so close. Because we got the cutscene, right? With where the cannon or the tower in Alio transforms into a cannon, and then like Dark Falls just appears next to us. I think that Ironclad is gonna transform into like the platform where we're actually fighting Dark Falls.
That's actually a good point, because like the angle that they have it, you can't see Ironclad because of it. So that actually could be the case.
Yeah, and like the color scheme and everything, it matches, right? The color scheme is dark blue, the entire arena is dark blue, but it's kind of like, maybe.
It does match. It does seem like it would make sense for it to be there. I'm actually like trying to find quick so I can look at it, because like now that you mention it, it does cover right over top of it.
Yeah.
So it covers right over top of where that would be. Yeah, like it totally covers it.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was what it turned into. But yeah, I definitely want to see the actual cutscene though. I want to see like how it turns into that and stuff like that. It'll be cool.
You know what's crazy? I didn't think about. If you go back and look at the trailer for when you fight it, like we're inside something.
Yeah.
This isn't just out in the world. Like we're inside of something. I don't know what we're inside of, but like we're not just floating on a platform anywhere. Like we're inside a big vast something, or I don't even know how to explain what we're like, because you can see off the side of the platform and there's
Are we
nothing
in
down, like,
Ironclad? Maybe that's in it.
Yeah, like, we might be inside, like so tinfoil hat theory. All of these like crazy things that are in the world at the moment are where that's where the dolls are coming. I think these are just large facilities that the dolls are being manufactured in and being sent out via the falls. Like I think that's exactly what's happening, right? And also it's kind of funny because what was it? They people had this mindset of, oh, you know, we're not gonna have Dark Falls again. We finally beat Dark Falls, you know, in the previous storyline or whatever. Like it's 1,000 years after the events of the previous game. And what happens every 1,000 years?
Yeah, isn't Dark Falls basically like, who's the bad guy in Zelda? I forgot the big bad guy in Zelda.
Ganon.
Ganon always comes back, right? Like every single Zelda, the bad guy's Ganon, isn't it?
Every time, yes. In Phantasy Star games, every 1,000 years, Dark Falls Ganon.
Yeah, that's
every
what I
1,000
thought.
years.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised. I was just like, well, whatever. They're just gonna be back.
Oh yeah, my thought process though was like, I feel like we're gonna start getting inside of these facilities, which is awesome, by the way. I think what's gonna actually end up happening, now that you mention it, is yes, that cannon is going to fire on Falls. I think it's going to like push it back and retreat back inside of Ironclad, and we're going up there to fight it.
Yeah, that could be cool. Or we can go more cinematic. We blast a hole in Ironclad and then we launch ourselves into the hole into Ironclad.
Go back into our little pod that we use to come down or whatever, and it just he puts us inside of the actual catapult, dude, and just launches us directly into it.
Exactly.
That'd be insane. I'm actually really looking forward to this fight. It looks really, really cool. And looking back on the area now, like I don't know why it just never dawned on me to look around the fight. I was just so engrossed with the actual fight itself. Like looking around, like there's literally nothing else inside it. We're definitely inside that giant. We have to be inside something. I don't know if it's inside the falls or inside Ironclad or whatever the heck it is, but we're inside something.
For sure. Do you think that that fight specifically is going to be really difficult?
I think it's going to be difficult for the average player, and I feel like that's kind of a bit of a cop-out, but most people have a hard time with dealing with some of the attack types that I've seen. So I think like the optimizer and the person that tries to push as much when it comes to PSO2, I feel like they're going to enjoy that fight and it's going to be fun, but I don't think it's going to be superly overly difficult. At first though, people are going to get absolutely destroyed. They're going to get washed. A lot of these attacks are huge, and they chase you. It seems like they're going to be kind of difficult to deal with. So fingers crossed that the buff to Katana that they talked about, by the way, shows up sooner rather than later.
I'm so happy about that. Jesus Christ.
I am like borderline kind of tilted, but also very happy for you.
Wait, why tilted? Were you just like, this is a fighter thing only? Screw Bravers or what?
No, it's like for fighters, I'm like, you know what, fighters, you guys got ignored for so long. It's not fair. No, they finally gave you something. I was like, at least hopefully they'll listen now, right?
Mhm.
And then Bravers, it's like Bravers complained for a while that things were really bad, and they got to change. And they complained again, and they got a buff. And they complained a little bit more, and now they're getting another change. And meanwhile, here I'm sitting looking at Soaring Blade's bouncer, like, please, anything, just a little bit, please. Like,
You know,
well, now you can step in midair and not fall to the ground. Right, but more.
you know, I really think it has something to do with the numbers, right? Because from when I play, at least on ship 2, I've noticed there is a lot of Braver players. There really is a lot of Braver players. So
absolutely, and they've shown that what they do is based on players, what players are doing, right?
Exactly.
Like they flat out said, the faction that we release so much of it of the specific type because that's how many players are playing. As much as I want to be mad at them for doing that, it makes the most amount of. I want to be mad at them for like not releasing more Type 1 faction because that's what I play, right? Like Casts want to be annoyed with them for not releasing more cast parts because that's what Casts want.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we know we're all surrounded with degenerate waifus. They're all over the place.
Yep.
Not all of them are wholesome like yours. There's a lot of degenerate ones, and that's why they released the outfit. It makes perfect.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, for sure. Like
it's the reality. I'm mad about it, but it's the reality, and I can't be mad at them for it, all right?
Indeed.
But yeah, no, hopefully you get that buff, because with some of these attacks that I'm seeing, it'll be nice to be able to block in all directions, because those attacks are all over the place.
Yeah. Seriously, like even now, during purple triggers, when I fight against like the T-Rex, or even when I'm like right under the Dustle, I always have to stop DPSing, step away, so that I'm facing the boss in order to counter. But now, if it's omnidirectional, it's seriously a godsend. It's going to be so much easier to just counter and just do purple triggers and everything. I'm pretty happy about that.
That's also kind of a kick at Hunters, because that was the one thing that their guard had over Bravers before.
True.
That they were omnidirectional.
Yeah.
And that was something even from base PSO2, where Bravers guard has only ever been 180 degrees in front of them.
Yep.
It's never been omnidirectional.
Yeah.
And Hunters always had the omnidirectional guard, and that's where they're at. That's where their advantage was.
Well, I mean,
Hunter just lost that advantage.
To be fair, look, Force has omnidirectional guard, Fighter has omnidirectional guard, Hunter has omnidirectional guard. Braver was the only one with the 180 degree thing, because, you know, that's what it happened in base. But we know that NGS is designed to go mainstream, right? They're trying to simplify things for the average casual player. So it only made sense, right, to do that.
Yes, but Braver's also the only one that has a counter attack that's ranged.
I mean, yeah, you got a shockwave.
I'm just saying, they're the only ones that have the range count. But no, I don't want people to think that I'm just like knocking Braver or whatever, like they don't deserve it. Honestly, realistically speaking, it doesn't. Like, it's cool that Braver has it. There's no reason not to give them to it. Well, you're absolutely right. Literally every other block and guard is omnidirectional. So, like, even bouncers, really dumb, one block only during PA's block is still omnidirectional. So it's fair.
Don't bouncers really love it when the Dustle throws down like the AoE pool and you can just continuously counter it or something?
You can step counter that thing for days. It's great, but like your block is dumb. It doesn't do anything for that. So bounce is actually really weird right now, where there's like this really odd level of optimization where at the end of your PA you can press your weapon action and it's supposed to do a block, but it does the block and it throws photon blades, and then you can press your weapon action again right after to throw more photon blades. So like, I'm pretty sure that's a bug. And not supposed to work that way, because when you use your block, you're not supposed to throw photon blades out. But yeah, it's this really odd optimization that it's just very, very weird. So hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, I know I put out a tweet for NGS headline that seems to be gaining quite a bit of traction. Hopefully they see it, and you know, we see some changes for Soaring Blades, because right now Soaring Blades is starving while Katana's feasting. I'm not saying Katana shouldn't feast, by the way. I want Katana to feast. Karo's my boy. I want you guys to do well, but I don't want to starve either.
True. We should just make everyone OP because that's how PSO2 has always been though. Like they don't nerf classes out of other than the hero. The hero's an outlier, but
well, technically they buffed hero too. The only class they nerfed ever was gunner.
Oh, true. Yeah.
they nerfed S-roll on gunner back in base PSO2, but it needed it. Gunner. It was actually broken.
Yeah.
It was broken, so it's fair.
True. Yo, so I want to talk about the new urgent quest. Like, other than the Dark Falls thing, we are also getting rank 2 versions of all the old quests. So Mining Base, Next Vera, and what's the dragon called? I forgot what the dragon's called.
Next Alio.
Next Alio, yeah. So, do you think we're getting new capsules on that? Because like Didal Soul, Peta Soul, Next Soul, do you think we're going to be getting rank 3s of those?
I think that's their excuse to release rank 3s of those, yes. I think that's absolutely what's going to happen, 100%.
So, look, right now on Next Soul, we get 5 PP and 1 technique weapon potency. At Next Soul 2, it's 5 PP and 2% technique weapon potency. So, are we going up to 3% now? Like 5 PP, 3%?
2.5. It'll be equal to Dust Soul 3. That's what they'll probably do. It'll be 2.5. It'll be pretty much equal. The nice thing is going to be that it's going to be the PP equivalent to the HP equivalent souls that we've had over in Redum, essentially. Yeah. So it'll be a little bit more PP. It'll be 2.5. They could do 3%. Again, I've always said that, like, they follow patterns, but they can break patterns. There's nothing saying they have to follow this pattern. They can be like, oh, well, Krono thinks all these things are happening. Well, yeah, screw that guy. We're going to do whatever we want. Just throw this out there. Like, that's totally a possibility. But they haven't to this point. So that's what I'm going to keep guessing.
Another thing is with the new urgent quests or the rank 2 urgent quests, do you think there's going to be new loot?
I don't think so. I think there's going to be more chance of better loot. For example, like, we're getting these weapons that are going to need the photon scales, right? I feel like those are going to start popping up in a lot more than just what they are currently. Well, sure. No, it's probably still just going to be the main urgent quest or whatever. But I feel like the higher tier augments that are better are going to pop up more often in the higher tier urgent quest. And I don't know if they're going to choose or opt to have some of the stuff that's in Redum drop over in Alio, like relics and things like that. Like, it's a possibility they could have those drop there. But man, I'm just not thinking about it. The rank 2 versions of some of those urgents, specifically the the mining base one. Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare.
Yep.
Because mining base is already a nightmare for some people. So rank 2 mining base might be. Whew.
Yeah, oh, man, I'm kind of worried about that. I think mining base, it's gonna be a fiesta again. It's just gonna be like, yeah, these mobs hit so much harder now, and your towers are gonna get ripped apart if they get to it.
Yeah, I guess we'll do our due diligence as content creators and let you know right now. Bring 2 friends and play base defense. Yeah, don't actually run out. Just take as long as there's 3 of you. I would say maybe try to get 4. That way you have 1 person that can float to help each other out. Yep. But as long as there's 3 of you and you're each standing by a tower, there's a very, very small chance that you guys actually will fail though.
Right. The new combat zones, right? So we're getting the high rank combat zones, rank 3. You just said that you don't think the relic weapons will drop there. Why is that?
So they mentioned the relic weapons are currently set to Redum, right? That's where they actually have them even set specifically to certain enemy drops. From certain from certain veterans. I don't think that they'll drop in Alio, but there's a good chance that they might just have them drop across the board, like everywhere, as long as it's a high enough level enemy. So they might take that approach, like the enemy level approach, where as long as the enemy is the high enough level that it can drop off of any of them. But like it's one of those situations where I feel like if they don't have those also drop there, like what else is drop, right? It's just augments. It's just augment capsules and things like that. I mean, those new what do they call the arm things that bring your stuff up to plus 50? Those are going to be pretty important. Like insanely important, because you're going to want one of those for your weapon as soon as possible. Because being able to go to plus 50 is going to bring your base damage up higher, which is going to be a sizable amount of damage increase.
Indeed.
Overall. And and the Gigantics are going to be going up to level 44.
Oh, so snap. I forgot about that. Yeah.
definitely gonna want those upgrades because those gigantics are gonna slap you so hard now. Because if your units are going up to plus 50, that means you have more base defense, meaning you actually get hit not as hard.
With Gigantics at 44, do you think they're gonna pull a fast one on us and have new weapons drop from that, like the new Straga equivalent weapons?
So they could, and not have them be as strong, or basically they could release another weapon and have it fly under the radar of Relic and the Cinquem
Cinquem,
weapons,
yep.
but be stronger than Grega weapons. Because right now the issue with the Grega weapons are they're great for bossing, and funny enough, they're actually stronger than base Relic weapon if you can get a +3 fixa attack one.
Yep.
But only while fighting bosses. Whenever you switch over to fighting just regular mobs, you lose quite a bit of damage. So they could opt to do something similar to Straga and have them drop from the level 44 gigas, or they could just make gigas drop relics.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, well, Gigas already drop relics, right? Because in the Purple Triggers and in Retem, it would just be interesting if they just drop it more often, right? Do you think actually that relics are gonna be a common weapon now, like with the new update coming in, since everything is gonna be level 40?
No, I think they're still going to be relatively rare. I just think that people are going to need less of. There are going to be people instinctively that are going to think, I don't ever need a relic, I'm just going to get the Cinquem weapon, right? Like that's going to be their default thought process. They're not going to want to get 2 relics, they're just going to sell them. And as time goes on and on and on, more people are going to get a hold of relics because, of course, as time continues, people farm even if they don't really mean to, more drops happen, so on and so forth. I do think that the drop rate for relics will increase from a higher level enemy, but I don't think it's going to be so much that the weapons just become super like casual. I think at best our weapons like relics are probably still going to be around 10 to 20 mil roughly. And that's where they're going to sit just about overall for weapons as far as it's concerned. But again, that's just a guess.
I think we pretty much covered everything. Did we? I think. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? The new fashion? Do you like the doggo run?
Oh, that's right. The new fashion. Oh no. Okay. So the new fashion actually means more than just the doggo run, which is the crazy part. And this goes back to like, I'm not sure if you saw the video I released a while back, or why I'm still playing PSO2 or why I still play PSO2. And it's a dev team that obviously pays attention, because that run was 100% the player base saying, hey, this should be a thing, and someone making a video and posting it on Twitter and it getting like quite a bit of traction of that run being a thing in NGN.
Yep.
And that's all that was. That is exactly where that came from. And you can't tell me otherwise because it just happened. Like, it literally just happened, and now bam, it's here. So do I care for anything in the new fashion? Well, actually, yes. The military stuff or whatever that they showed, that all looks super sick, and I'm actually really excited for that. I didn't think that I would find another fashion so soon that I really liked. Because my current fashion, I love it. Love my current fashion, super dope. But that new stuff that they showed off, whew, that coat, oh my god. I'm kind of upset that I already have something else that I want, because I know I'm going to spend a bit more money on. I'm just really glad that I don't care about the running on all fours enemy, because I didn't want to spend another $90.
Didn't you just upgrade your fashion? I could swear I just watched your video like a day ago of you saying you upped the true end game, and it's just you updating your fashion, right?
Was that video a little bit of clickbait? Yes. Did that video come specifically because I saw your new fashion in video? Also, yes. But yes, I did just upgrade my fashion. And the worst part was I had to spend $90 for the scratch because I needed that new run as well. The skate sprint.
Oh my goodness. Wait, so the scratch bonus is $90 just to get that?
Yes. It's $90.
I never knew it was 90. I thought it was like 40 or 50 bucks. So I was like, okay, that's all right. But 90?
It's expensive. So it's essentially 40 scratches. I want to say maybe a bit more.
Yeah, I didn't know a
like
scratch was that expensive.
45.
So each scratch is essentially like $2 and like a little bit more, $2.50 or something.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy, dude. That's really
Yes, they are.
expensive for a motion item.
They are extraordinary expensive. 100%. Which is why it's so insane. Oh my god, I know we totally missed this. This is why it's so insane that they actually have a free-to-play dash.
I was about to bring that up. The fairy dash. I know people who spent a shit ton of money to get that fairy dash. And now that I know it's $90, that's even more crazy. I thought it was like 40 or 50. But yeah, as free to play, we can now get the fairy dash by spamming the Alio purple triggers. So first things first, purple triggers. Do you think we can use our regular purple triggers to go into the rank 2 or not?
Didn't consider that. I think so, yes.
So,
I don't know that they would come up with another trigger. So that might cause the purple Alio triggers to spike in cost. However, with the rank 3 zones, it might also mean that more triggers drop more often from those rank 3 zones.
True.
So I feel like they're going to balance themselves out if that happens. Or they make a new trigger and it only drops.
Yeah, they could. We don't know because we don't have anything to base, our logic off. It's never been done before, right? We don't know if there's a.
Correct.
So definitely something to look forward to. But yeah, what do you think the drop rate is going to be though for that motion item?
So there's only 2 possible situations. It's either going to be a guarantee once you complete one, or it's gonna be really rare. And I mean really rare. I mean like relic rare.
Yeah, relic status rare. Jeez.
Yes. The craziest thing about that is I'm really concerned is, are they gonna make it sellable?
Oh shoot! Because it's a color variant too.
It's a color variant, and it's just a usable item you can get from farming. If it's sellable, it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
And people are gonna cry that it's overly expensive, and they're gonna ask for more money. So
yeah,
that is something that is going to happen if that's the case. Because the weird thing would be is you get it, and then if it's not sellable and you don't care about it, like it should have been able to go to someone else, right? Like, what if you wanted a friend to have it?
Yep.
So it's one of those situations where they're probably going to make it sellable, and if it's sellable, that means it has value. So it wasn't free.
Yep. Gonna be worth a bajillion Meseta. Let's go.
It is definitely gonna be worth a lot. Like definitely gonna be worth a lot. Yeah, I'm looking at this dash, and it's so the benefit of these dashes is they always have a move variant, and the move variant is always just a part of the scratch, where the dash variant is the bonus. The dash variant. Exactly.
Yep.
That is what's gonna cost you $90.
Let's talk about since you made a video already on like why you still play PSO2. How about tell the audience what is your plans for February? Like, what's your plans this month?
This month, the first update we're getting doesn't really concern me too much. While we have the concert, which is gonna be super dope, which has the bonus on it, by the way, where you get it's like 2 hours of a buff.
We're also getting the party bonus. Don't forget that. That is back.
And the party buff that's coming back in. Definitely super dope for those things. While those are awesome, it doesn't really bring any new content that I care that much about. We're not getting rank 3 zones yet, right? I think that's not till the next update.
No, rank 3 zones. So Mount Magnus comes out on the 9th. So in 3 days, we get the rank 3 Mount Magnus, and we get the level cap increase as well, by the way. So keep that in mind.
That's true.
Yeah.
So as far as plans go, here's the problem. Lost Ark. So that's also a thing to keep in the mix as well. So probably gonna farm, more than likely gonna be trying to push myself up to 40-40. That way I can get that out of the way for like my primary classes. So like just to get Brave or Fighter out of the way. Maybe also do Force as well, because I don't know what it is, but I'm not sure if you've ever just farmed like zones on Force. It is extremely relaxing. Like it is the most therapeutic way to farm like zones, in my opinion, of all time. I'm not sure if they just made Force that much better. It's that much fun now, but it's great. So I'll probably take care of that. But other than that, it's just gonna be pretty much coasting until the new falls.
Yeah, so
update
that
comes
is
out.
February 16th, my birthday. That's when Dark Balls comes out. Hell yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I'll
There's a
have to
lot
figure
of
something
things
out
coming
for his
out on the
birthday, man.
16th, actually. Yeah, but good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've got so much on the way in such a short period of time. I kind of wish we had more time overall to let these things kind of unpack, because Lost Ark coming out right when this new update comes out is kind of a pain in the butt. So
Yep, for sure. So my game plan is literally on the 9th, the moment the update kicks in, I'm gonna go really hard. So 9, 10, 11. These are gonna be just really, really crazy. I'm gonna grind as much as I can. I'm gonna get all the videos recorded and pump that out, right? Or at least schedule them. And then once the 11th hits and like Lost Ark is released, I'm gonna be playing that because Lost Ark is really damn fun. So I'm gonna be.
See, that's my problem. Is I have the head start.
Oh, you bought the Founders Pack, yeah. So you have it on the 8th.
I have head start on the 8th. So like Lost Ark on the 8th, then release of the new zones. I'm gonna go hard on those new zones for like a day or two. Try to get as much content as possible to get ready to get pumped out.
Yeah.
And then back over to Lost Ark, and then also getting Lost Ark squared away. So it's like all right at the same time. And then of course I also have Pokemon, which I haven't finished, which I'm probably just gonna play on my own time, to be perfectly honest. Like kind of like just an in-between thing for me. But like my major goals for just like PSO2 is just being 40/40. Like getting to being 40/40 is the most important thing for me there.
Yeah. And
outside of that, like everything else is gonna come with time, right? Like we'll be able to farm that stuff with time. I just want to make sure that I'm like my levels are prepared, and then I can get my gear in order. I guess the real question is, what are you gonna do with your relic?
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping my relic Fixa 4. Like I don't think I'm gonna be upgrading to the Sanquium series, even though.
Oh wait, your relic's a Fixa.
Yeah, mine's a Fixa 4.
I forgot you. It's a Fixa 4 like attack, isn't it?
No, Fatal.
Oh, you're solid.
Yeah, I'm set.
I totally forgot.
Yeah,
I totally forgot that your relic was a Fixa. I thought it was like a Fixa 1 attack.
Nope.
It's a Fixa 4 Fatal.
It dropped Fixa 4 Fatal, and then it was just, everyone was like, what the hell? And I was like, bro, I won the lottery.
I totally forgot it was a Fixa 4 Fatal katana. Yeah, like, I mean, Sinquim might scale up to as strong as that is, but like, it's not enough to even worry about.
Exactly.
Wow.
So in my opinion, I'm set. Like the only thing that I care about is maybe the armors, right? If the new armors have enough potency, then I will switch over to the new armors. Because right now, so my potency is very low. You said you were on like 50-something%, right?
Yeah, 52.9.
If we take a look at I am at 32.5. So I'm stupidly low, but this is because the units that I am running are the Vidal armor. So I have 2 Vidal armors, so that is plus 45 HP and plus 1% damage reduction, right? I've got 2 of them, but 2 of them are both with Fixa Guard 3s. And then I have a Vios armor, just a regular Vios armor with a Fixa Enthusia 1. So basically, I'm tanky as hell. I take 4 shots from a Gigantix before I die.
Oh, so, see, this is why I was feeling terrible about dying next to you when we were fighting that one boss, is because you're built like a tank.
Wait, no. When I was playing with you, that is ship 1. I'm glass cannon there, okay? I'm full glass cannon there. You can't put that on me.
I feel adequately bad again then. No worries. But like, yeah, that's crazy strong. That's insanely thick.
Yeah.
I'm using 2 Giants with Fixa Performer 3 on them, and a Vios with Fixa Performer 3 on it as well.
Yep.
So like, it just, I am all in on attack mostly.
Yeah. I mean, with your stats, right? You're full glass cannon. You deal a lot of damage. But the thing about the Braver is very little classes can out DPS Braver if the Braver is able to pull off counters consecutively. So like against the Kelkundo, or like the bouncer looking Gigantic.
Oh yeah.
I can hold aggro on that every single time, as long as I don't get hit, because I just counter. if you're countering, I'm hitting like 400 to 500 damage per hit on this gigantic compared to everyone else that's hitting like, you know, how much do you hit? Like 100, 200 at most for auto attack?
On autos, on gigantics autos, I probably hit around 150 to 200. Yeah.
And then PAs?
Usually at step counters, my step counters are hitting for like 3 to 4. PAs are a bit weird, so it's around 300 to 400 damage.
Okay.
But I also have photon blades that fly out in between, so like I probably could pull threat from you because because what is it? Soaring blades counter damage is actually really, really good too.
Yeah, but
So
you can
it would
see,
be-
right? Basically, as long as I can pull off my counters, even with my 32% potency versus your 50 something, like we're almost at equal ground. Sure, you might edge out a little bit, but you're super glass cannon, right?
Oh yeah, I
And-
can get sneezed on and I get murdered.
Exactly. And so this is why I find Bravers like super, super strong. But the problem with this is only a small percentage of players are able to like pull this off. Because even I have trouble pulling it off because against like the T-Rex, I can't read his moveset. His moveset's crazy. He's just like spinning around, he jukes you and stuff like that. And then like
Yeah, against him, if he moves, I stab counter. I just
Right.
assume he's gonna hit me with step counter.
Exactly. And then it's just really difficult to just fully read every single mob. Like with the bouncer one, I do not auto attack. I don't weave in auto attacks or PAs. I literally just sit there and I just click counter, 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 counter. Because of how fast it attacks, I just don't want to take the risk.
So I learned the trick to that because actually, so funny enough, I had never done a single purple trigger until 2 days ago.
What?
My chat was like, "You haven't done any of them?" I was like, "No, I haven't had a group to go do them." So I hadn't done any of them, and they're like, "Yo,
Okay.
let's go. Let's put together a group. Let's go do it."
Mhm.
So we go, and I run to go do the purple trigger. And my first run, I was like, "Okay, this is not bad. I'll do all right." Got bodied. Of course, we killed it. We got through, which is awesome.
Mhm.
But like, bosses just sneezed on me, and I died. And I'm like, I gotta figure this out. Like, I gotta pay attention.
Yep.
So we get to the gigantics. That's the bouncer one, right?
Mhm.
And I'm watching its movements. I'm really paying attention, and I'm like, wait a second. It's just Bujin all over again.
Mhm. Yep.
Its leg glows every single time it's going to attack, the same way Bujin's eye did.
Yep.
The only difference is knowing what the attacks are and how fast they come out,
Mhm.
which with time you learned with Bujin anyway. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is what this has been the whole time? And afterwards, I'm just step countering it like crazy. I'm like, this is so easy. Like, this is super, super simple. It's like, I can get it perfect now. It's no big deal. But the fun part about the way that I have my multi-weapon set up now is it used to be that like fire breath attacks that were like long range used to be the worst, like the bane of my existence, right?
Mhm.
Well, because I'm multi-weapon with a jet boot, I can just spam weapon action on jet boot over and over again. And
Mhm.
since jet boot's weapon action shoots out a bolt in front of it each time,
Mhm.
I can just sit inside of a fire and spam the button over and over.
Oh,
It's the same way
my
that you can
God.
like just counter spam.
Yep.
I can just spam weapon action on jet boot, and it just like just over and over and over again. So like all of the what is it? What is the name of that gigantics? The one that has like all the tentacles or whatever, and it's like
the
has, like-
laser or the launcher, depending on which one. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how he'll float up in the air and then he'll shoot like fire down like in like a spin or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
I can jump right up to where he's at, and as he starts that, I just spam weapon action over and over again, and it just kicks him over and over again.
Nice.
Like, he can't stop me from doing it. It's hilarious. Like, this is so incredibly dumb, and I will never get tired of doing it.
All right, Krono, we're gonna be wrapping up the podcast. That's about as much time as we have. So, do you have anything you want to say to the fans, to the viewers?
To the fans and the viewers. I will say we've got a lot of really cool stuff on the way. Don't make any decisions hastefully. Think about it. Think about what's going to be beneficial for you. It's not going to fit everyone all the same. Because there's a lot of naysaying going on at the moment. A lot of people are kind of freaking out with all these new things that are on the way. Pay attention. Carol releases a lot of really great videos about this stuff. I try to do the same. Gemma does the same. A lot of us really try to pay attention to these things, and let you guys know about them ahead of time. So keep an eye out for those. As far as where you can find me, like always, I'm sure you'll have like a link in the video description itself. But my name is Krono. Krono Catastrophe, go by Krono primarily. You can find me at youtube.com/Krono Catastrophe, twitch.tv/Krono Catastrophe, and on Twitter at ZenKronos. You're more than welcome to DM me if you have any questions. I am really cool with answering them.
All right, perfect. So as Krono said, all of his socials will be linked in the description below. If you guys have any bouncer questions specifically, you guys should be asking him. He is a bouncer main. And another tip to everyone is don't stress out for this update or this month. What I recommend is people to just play PSO2 until you're bored of it, or if you just don't want to play anymore, then hop over to other games. You know, we've got Lost Ark coming out. I know a lot of people are excited for that. I'm excited as well. And that's what I'm personally going to be doing. I'm going to be balancing between Lost Ark and PSO2 so that I don't get burnt out and, you know, just have fun. But that is it for today's episode of Arks Trash, and we'll see you guys in... Well, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode, or tomorrow's video. So, yeah, anyway, bye! Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
What can I say except you're welcome for the heals, the boosts, the